Good morning. It's still morning. All right, people, you're not going to like me. I've got 80% of my Christmas shopping done. End of summer sales and Amazon specials. I'm I'm pretty much done. Um, the reason why I'm so late getting on today is because my wife needed to do a little shopping and she asked me to join her for breakfast. And I said yes, okay, which was pretty exciting till we got to the restaurant. And it's a breakfast place and they don't know how to cook eggs medium. I sent them back twice. And then the third time, they came out hard as a rock. So they deliberately burned them. Okay. And I was pretty much over it. Okay. And the manager tried explaining to me that that was accidental. And I go, please, I've worked in a restaurant. That was deliberate. They were burnt. Okay. Well, then she kept apologizing and she gave me a free meal and blah, blah, blah. So instead of eggs, which I needed, and chicken sausage and a pumpkin pancake, I got half of a pumpkin pancake because the time I got that far into it, I was so disgusted I didn't want to eat anymore. And the chicken sausage was excellent. So the service sucked. The waitress, I don't know if she was too busy. I don't think so. But she almost dumped a whole pot of decaf on Denise. And instead of saying, I'm sorry and are you okay, she did mop it up. All right. I'll give her that. But they were all, oh, this was broken. Well, you know what? Look at the stupid thing before you bring the carafe to the table. And maybe you'd be able to figure out that it's broken. I was just like, ah! And First Watch is extremely expensive and rather frou-frou, and to quote an old term from the 80s, very yuppie. Give me breakfast anytime. Um, Anytime. So, anyway, that's the rant for today. Today is Thursday, the 29th. Oh, by the way, while we were out shopping, I had Denise the things that I needed sizing on and definitely eyeball what you're looking for. Uh, I had, well, why don't we look at this? Okay. And then I went on Amazon and got something quite nice. So, like I said, I'm pretty much done with my Christmas shopping, uh, which I sort of need to be. But anyway, because, by the time Christmas shopping season comes around, I'm too busy. All right, Thursday, the 29th. Job 38:40. Who provides for the raven its prey when its young ones cry to God and wander about for a lack of food? God. I mean, come on. This is basic biblical stuff, all right? Um when its young ones cry to God, okay? When your kids are going, are we there yet? I'm hungry. So and so's looking at me. All the fun things you have to deal with as a parent, okay? So that's awesome and everything, but I got to tell you, the only person that gives you sanity and provision in your life is God. That's what God is trying to point out here, okay? And you can question God all you want, but you have to understand, you either trust him to take care of you and do the right thing, or you don't trust him. And then, I'm sorry, but um, not okay. All right. All right. 1 Corinthians 3:7. So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but only God who gives the growth. All right. Now we're talking about pastors and their gifts and abilities. Before I finally give it up, I've always wanted to be the pastor of one of those churches where basically you just kind of stood there and people rolled in. I know it's rare, but I've never been a harvester. I've been the guy that clears the land, gets the rocks out of the garden, blows up the tree stumps. And, you know, I'm catching so far that Asheboro is not that. So it kind of remains to be seen what my gifts are going to be utilized as, because I don't think it's going to be as a plot clearer, you know. I mean, I realize I'm going to be doing some foundational stuff because everybody's all excited about the Bible studies, and yes, that is awesome, but I have a feeling that that I'm going to be the guy that's um, watering and getting the harvest ready, you know, which is cool. That'd be kind of fun for a change. Um, in the past, I've been the guy that had to come in and shake things up. Okay, y'all shouldn't be doing that, or or just like, what is this? Kind of getting the large immovable objects called pillars of the church out of the way because they were disruptive. All right. Now, I don't know. All right, let's pray. Mighty God, your power is displayed everywhere, yet I foolishly regard myself as abandoned and alone, or worse, as someone learned and in control. Since you alone are God, guide me to my place of service and inspire me to do what I can for the blessing of your people. Okay, the first part is just plain arrogance. And it's original sin, but it's not very original. Okay. I want to be the God of my life. Period. That never works. Okay. Bullwinkle is never going to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and you are not going to be the Lord of your life. You are going to be a darn disaster. Okay. An absolute disaster. Sorry about that. Hate to burst your bubble. Um, since you alone are God, guide me to my place of service and inspire me to do what I can for the blessing of your people. That's my prayer as a pastor. That's all I want to do. Okay. Do what I can, be of service, and be a blessing. And if not a blessing, then an itchy rash or thorn, to get you to do what you need to be about. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Um, yeah, today's going to be a hot one. I hope that you're okay with that. All right. Um, anyway, C.S. Lewis, August 29th. This is an interesting little thing from On Forgiveness in the Weight of Glory. Um, Forgiveness versus excusing. We live in a world today where when people say, I'm sorry, instead of going, I forgive you, they say, no problem. That's not forgiving. Okay. Or if you say thank you, pet peeve, just going to say it. Thank you. No problem. No, you're right. It isn't a problem because probably why I'm thanking you is because you're just doing your job. And to say no problem is like, well, obviously at certain times it must be a problem. And so you're better off saying, you're welcome. Okay. We have become impolite. So, this is a very poignant one. Interestingly, it was written in the 1940s. So, not a lot of new under the sun, folks. All right. Okay. I find that when I think I am asking God to forgive me, I am often in reality, unless I watch myself very carefully, asking Him to do something quite different. I am asking Him not to forgive me, but to excuse me. But there is all the difference in the world between forgiving and excusing. Forgiveness says, yes, you have done this thing, but I accept your apology. I will never hold it against you, and everything between us two will be exactly as it was before. But excusing says, I see that you couldn't help it or didn't mean it, or you weren't really to blame. If one was not really to blame, then there is nothing to forgive. In that sense of forgiveness and excusing are almost opposites. Of course, in dozens of cases, either between God and man or between one man and another, there may be a mixture of the two. Part of what seemed at first to be the sins turned out to be really nobody's fault and is excused. The bit that is left over is forgiven. But the trouble is that what we call asking God's forgiveness very often really consists in asking God to accept our excuses. What leads us into this mistake is the fact that there usually is some amount of excuse, some extenuating circumstances. We are so very anxious to point these out to God and to ourselves that we are apt to forget the really important thing. That is the bit left over, the bit which excuses don't cover, the bit which is inexcusable, but not, thank God, unforgivable. And if we forget this, we shall go away imagining that we have repented and been forgiven. And when all that has really happened, when all that has really happened, is that we have satisfied ourselves with our own excuses. They may be very bad excuses, and we are all too easily satisfied about ourselves. Okay, so the best example of what I just read is Flip Wilson's Geraldine going, "The devil made me do it. I'm not culpable." Okay, look, I was just standing there. It wasn't anything, right? I couldn't help myself. Well, that's just how I was raised, or that's my genetics, or I can't help it. It's a compulsion. I just don't have any ability to control it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Forgive you for what? Offering up a lame excuse? Sure, why not? Let's start there. When I've been in a mood and somebody is like, You'll have to forgive me, but it isn't really my fault. I go, well, I'll forgive you. What is your fault? That that kind of leaves them sitting there going, I wonder what he meant by that. It's called not really being sorry. As a youth group pastor, the kids would go sorry, and I go, yeah, you're just sorry you got caught. Okay, so therein lies, excuse me, therein lies an immense difference. Okay, so this kind of relates to Jesus going, let's be honest here, right? So what we're finding out in these readings from Lewis for the last couple of days, and let's see if it's going on into the future. Yeah, we're gonna close out the month definitely dealing with forgiveness. Um, Forgiveness is not easy, and God doesn't let us off the hook just because it's hard. Sorry. I'm in the same boat. Okay. Forgiveness is ridiculously hard. True forgiveness. Okay. Just is. So, anyway. All righty. Let's pray. Jesus, I live this day for you. Please guide, protect, and help me to love others as you love me. Okay, today's Thursday. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Stay cool. It's supposed to rain for the rest of the weekend and be cooler. Awesome. Oh, and now we're 4 months to New Year's. Thought you'd like that. Get your Christmas shopping done.